Whose game is it?
Alabama! But to be the man, you gotta beat the man, and I'm saying, woo!
Here comes Alabama.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. Alabama has escaped South Carolina 27-25, and you're here on the Bama Standard Postgame Show. Before we get started, we got to do a few things. One, I want you to go ahead, hit that like and subscribe button. If you're in the live chat, well, I don't really have to ask a lot of participation from you today because I'm sure you'll be able to give it, and we will definitely be answering questions throughout the show. If you're watching the replay, get down in the comment section below. Show us some love there. Drop some comments. Tell us how you feel. Before we move on, got to give a shout out to one of our sponsors, Workspace Solutions. If your business needs a digital presence, full-fledged marketing team, SEO, or any other business need, give these folks a call. Reach out to them. Go to workspacepros.com today and tell them you want them coaching your team. I'm your host, Justin Riley from the Bama Standard. With me is a great going to help me get through this therapy session. First and foremost, we got the star of Crimson Dynasty, Cici Payne. Just below her.
That's all I can say.
Yes, that's all we can say. Just below her, the star of Sunday Night Talking Bama, one of the hottest TikTok sensations in the land, Josh JT Tucker. And not to be outdone, his teammate from Sunday Night Talking Bama, a man that I trust with all the football knowledge in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in Marshall Bean. What's going on, folks?
Speechless? That's a good question.
Speechless? in the wrong way?
I am speechless.
In the wrong way?
Absolutely. So, again, Alabama has eked out yet another win. Well, we eked out a win, and we nearly gave up what should have probably been a blowout to another unranked opponent. There's a lot of questions. There's a lot of things that we really have serious doubts about. Throughout this past week on different shows, we were questioning a lot of things. We even had some analysts say that the coaching staff compares to another coach who was actually on the field today calling plays for South Carolina. And all of a sudden our network got caught a lot of backlash from it. People were trying to cancel us. Obviously ignoring a problem. Look, I'm not saying that everybody needs to be fired, so please don't start running with that. But there are some serious problems, and things need to be changed immediately. But going to give you a few stats today. It wasn't pretty for Jalen Milroe at all. He had one of those games where it just didn't go right, but it went right in the right times. He was 16-23 for 209 yards, one touchdown, and had 2 interceptions. And then Jeremy Menard was the highlight in the receiving corps today, had 4 receptions for 89 yards. So let's start to talk about it. Let's work through it like we did last week. Last week we were on the wrong end of things, and we felt the embarrassment all week. Well, we had a chance to avenge that. We had a chance to make a statement. Well, we made a statement today. The program right now is in disarray for whatever reason. There's a lot of speculation. We've heard things, but we really don't know. We're not there. But we were told the ship was going to be righted, laser focused. People were buckling down. Playtime is over. Coaches were lighting a fire underneath people. And then we get to today, and it didn't look like any of that manifested itself in the play today. And it's funny, Cici, I'm going to start with you to kind of give me your first, off the top of your head, take on the game today. Kirk Herbstreit had made an interesting take this morning on College Game Day that Alabama came into the game last week trash talking and had a bit of arrogance, very unprepared, and was something he never thought he would experience with an Alabama team. Thus, what the outcome was. And then we move on to today. We expected that to be gone. We expected the trash talking to be silenced. We expected this to be all business. What kind of business did you see today, Cici? Then we'll drop down to JT and then Marshall.
I mean, honestly, I saw a bunch of garbage today. First of all, second of all, Herb Street, I do respect his opinion. I like that he's not as biased as some of the other guys, like Greg McElroy, for example. But with Herb Street, I get what he's saying in that regard as far as the arrogance. But let's be real, Vanderbilt was arrogant as well. They had a lot to say leading up to that game as well. So that's just a part of the game. It's not just, Alabama players were talking too much. I do agree that we need to be able to, be more action based and less words. But it's not that Alabama was just running their mouths and Vanderbilt wasn't. They were doing a lot of talking, acting uncouth and tearing down goalposts even after the game. So that's a part of the game. But I will say that, first things first, from my opinion, and I don't care about feelings, to be honest. First things first, Kane Womack needs to go. Whatever they're planning to do, I don't know what type of meal they're about to eat after the game. They shouldn't get one. More so the coaches. He needs to be packed up right now because I'm really tired and I'm really fed up at this point. A lot of us, we bought into this before the season started. A lot of us tried to rally behind the Coach DeBoer hire, some of the, the coaches that he brought on. But I'm pissed off, and we're not going for this, because if this is how we play against Vanderbilt and against freaking South Carolina, that Ole Miss only let score 3 points just a week ago. I believe it was just a week ago. They held them 27-3. This is pathetic. Like, I get that every team wants to beat Alabama, and coming off of a loss like that against Vanderbilt, we were exposed. But that's where the coaches come in. You can't tell me that Ole Miss has better talent than Alabama. They do not. The difference is the coaching. So I'm not going to buy that BS. And y'all be careful in those comments, because I got time today. Like, I'm not going for that. The bottom line is that the Coach DeBoer sit up there acting like he has no emotion. Like, get in the game. If you're that relaxed, how you think they're going to be? It's not a scrimmage. What do y'all think this is? Like, I shouldn't be this upset. They need to be upset like this. That was embarrassing today. We play on the road at Tennessee. Then we got Missouri at home for homecoming. Ole Miss is not better than Alabama. And the fact that they held them just 3 points at South Carolina, that's pathetic. Our defense, some of it was the players, but a lot of it had to do with the coaches. And if Womack is not fired, we may just see another L very soon. And
yes,
I'm pissed off.
Absolutely.
Like, I'm tired of this.
And JT, she brings up a very good point. Ole Miss handled their business. There's no question. But no disrespect to South Carolina or Vandy, we should not be playing close games or losing games to either of these opponents. There's a great talent disparity, but then you could argue too, maybe it's a coaching disparity, because we're getting out schemed, we're getting out coached, and we're often getting outplayed. But let's call it what it is. There's some effort or lack thereof there. We're getting bullied up and down the field. And it's not like they're running any kind of like exotic schemes or whatever. It's just basic. It's one or two plays and then daring them to stop you. The problem is we're not. So talk to me, JT. Tell me what you're seeing. I see people in the comment section talking about how penalties killed us. Yes, we had 7 penalties in this game, but it's not just the penalties. It's just the mental collapses that we're having. I've said too much. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, no, you're good. So, one thing we talked about last week about adjustments needing to be done on the defense. Marshall mentioned it earlier in the group text. Early on, I seen a little bit of different defense we were running a little bit early on. I liked it. And then we changed it. I don't know if the Jackson injury made that happen or not. I also want to talk about that bomb play. Well, you talk about a lot of schemes. While I agree with all of that, and I'm with you guys 100% about the schemes getting out coached. But like, our players got to play too, because Sabb had the left, Moore had the right. Moore's in the middle of the field. He should have been over there. Sabb had that covered already. Like, so some of it, I think those like tick plays like that is what we're missing, man. And people are, the Vandy play last week, 4th and 1 touchdown play, caught it over the top. Moore and Sabb got into it then due to the fact that he was supposed to be over the top. So I don't know, man. Is this Bill O'Brien 2.0 where our wide receivers are so confused? Now our defense is so good of a scheme that like our defense is confused. Like they don't know. You see what I'm saying? Our wide receivers, when we had O'Brien, the route running, they would run half the route and would look confused throughout the route. So like, is it this way right now? I'm baffled. baffled, man. I'm baffled. This was supposed to be a 66-10 type game. We were supposed to come out, bust some heads. I mean, we'll take the win. It's not an upset thing, not being ungrateful or anything like that. But it's just what this team has, and it ain't like this team is like you said, talking about us from Ole Miss. We have way better athletes. So yes, like why are we not doing this? Like it's so frustrating. But at the same time, I'm gonna end it off on this though. Sometimes certain teams get up for certain games, and the other games they're flat. We got up for Georgia, big. Next week's going to tell us a lot. If we play flat, I feel like that's what it is now. I feel like this year's arguably going to be pretty much that. If we come out swinging and bust Tennessee in the mouth like we did Georgia, or play completely different like that, I think we get up for big games at that point. And that'll be just my opinion. I want to see next week now. It's golly, man. This one got me, man.
Wait, if we're all honest, even folks in the chat, it got all of us.
Yeah.
But I've taken away a lot of time from you, Marshall. I want to hear from you. We've talked about what we saw today and kind of what we're feeling in terms of the team where we're at. But do you think a lot of these problems we're seeing right now comes from some kind of disconnect with the coaches? What are you possibly seeing that maybe we haven't looked at yet?
I miss the lack of professionalism that Bama used to have. She pointed it out expertly. We're being humbled very quickly because we're not up to the standard that we're used to playing at, and it's pissing me off. The over celebrating on a touchdown whenever it's 7-0 when they think it's 45-7. Like, calm down. Handshake, go back to the sideline, do it 4 more times for me, and then you can celebrate a little bit more. Like, that stuff is starting to piss me off. Now, Josh just pointed it because I said it in our group text at the very beginning of the game. I was like, oh my God, is that a 4-3? Because Jefferson, Campbell, and Lawson were all in the game at the same time. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh my God, have they finally figured it out that we don't need 7 DBs in the game all the time? You do not our DBs are too good for them to test it deep. Look how many deep balls they caught in this entire game. 1. Yes, it was a very big play. Run that play 9 more times. How many times is he going to catch that touchdown pass in the corner of the end zone? Like, realistically, how many times is he going to catch that? He's not. Anyway, why is there no effort? Like, what is going on during these practices? Where's the effort? I don't give a crap if it's Western Kentucky, South Florida, South Carolina, Vanderbilt. Where's the effort? Where's the energy? Why is it not there? Why do we keep getting our butts whooped at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball? We have NFL players on both sides of the ball. Mm-hmm. What's wrong? Like, I don't get it. And I saw someone put it up in the comments, and it made a good point. Why do we keep doing these crazy safety and corner blitzes when we don't need to? Why are we the least blitzing team, not just in the SEC, but in college football? We blitz 3% of the time. The announcer said it during today's game. That is unacceptable. Like, you are not getting pressure with your 4. Because not all of them are designed to do that. And then your players that are designed to do that, in my opinion, 34 Russo, if I'm not mistaken, or Robinson, I'm sorry, he's your best edge rusher as of right now.
Absolutely.
Why is he not on the field more? Like, you have players that perform in the game. I'm sorry if they don't perform in practice, but they're performing in the game. Let them perform in the game. Like, it just blows my mind. The lack of execution. Oh, my God, that stupid onside kick. Forgive me, Justin. I will go on for 20
Go ahead.
minutes.
I mean, talk your talk. We're here to work through it. I mean, we got to have an understanding of what exactly is going on, because what we're seeing on the screen measured up against what our expectations for Alabama just isn't measuring up. They're not connecting.
Do we put too much faith in Kane Womack at the beginning of the season?
It's quite possible. You know, there are several.
But at the same time, the reason we did it is because we have the players.
Yeah.
I think players. The scheme could have been some of that. The scheme, I think, is some of this, guys. Though, like when we all talk about
everybody,
it, has to come down to the scheme.
C up there, because I know she want to say something. How do you fix it? What do you want them to do? No firing. Let's take firing out the way. What do you want them to do?
Why no firing?
Because the scheme is already in place. Do you simplify it? Do you change,
well, apparently the scheme isn't working.
That's why I'm saying simplify it. Make it simpler.
I mean, like y'all said, we saw the 4-3 that worked. The thing that keeps pissing me, especially this game, and I'm sorry for that word because I try not to use that word that much, but I was pissed throughout this entire game because it seemed like we stopped doing what's working. We literally stopped doing what was working.
Agreed.
Like what? That makes no sense. Even like on the offensive side of the ball, I think our first drive we took like 4 minutes off the clock, and there was another drive where we took about 4. We could have taken more if we wanted to. We allowed we allowed, and I say Vanderbilt because it was just like that game almost. We allowed South Carolina to do the same thing that Vanderbilt did. They ate up that clock, especially the third quarter. The start of the third quarter. In my opinion, Womack has to go. I mean, if this is what it's looking like with Womack. What do we have to lose by getting somebody else? I mean, the 4-2-5 just does not work against teams that can run the ball efficiently, let alone having a QB that can run. So you talk about playing Tennessee at Tennessee with Nico. I mean, my thing is like he's a better passer, and it's not that I'm trying to look ahead, but you almost have to every single game because we saw these same issues when we played South Florida earlier this year, and we could have lost that game by the grace of God that we didn't. But at the same time, we're not correcting. Kane Womack sits out there looking like a squirrel, looking like he has no sense. He can't make any type of changes. Coach DeBoer sits out there looking like he has no emotion, like he's at the freaking A-Day game, like he's still stuck back in April. He's still stuck at the A-Day game. It like there he's being too nice. Just stop being nice. Just stop being nice. Alabama is known for not just recruiting dogs on the field, but the coaches are dogs. When we had Kirby Smart, when we had Jeremy Pruitt, you know what I'm saying? Coach Saban, the coaches are dogs. That energy, like it has to be the same from the top as well. And I'm tired of it, but somebody got to go. And so Coach DeBoer, I get that people are saying, we're overreacting, whatever. I was 100% behind Coach DeBoer. Even last week, I was still, somewhat behind him. But my thing is that's a part of leadership because you're going to show us from a leadership perspective, what can you do about this? What are you willing to do? And he hasn't done anything yet. No,
I agree completely. And Marshall, what you said about simplifying the defense, you can't get any more simple than it's about that size. That's it. But you can change the schemes you're in. You can change the defense you're in. And I do blame DeBoer because this all goes to the top. You're watching your team literally implode before your eyes, and you're just taking it. You think at halftime that there's got to be some discussion going on saying, look, this needs to change. We need to move this here, move that there. We need to insert this player here. Obviously, it's not happening because as soon as we come out of the gate at halftime, we're getting the ball drove down our throat or we're getting burned in coverage. It's
8.5 minute drive is ridiculous.
It's Milroe not on the field till 6 minutes.
So, wow. But
the 3rd and 15 play where we could have really taken control over the game. I was just like, I pray cover 0 blitz. Cover 0 blitz. What do? They rush 3.
Yeah. He has no.
I don't get it.
I understand that Kane and Coach DeBoer are friends. I could care less about that. That ain't winning us no games. He just has to go. And what about that raggedy 4th down conversion play where he had that South Carolina quarterback had all day? He could have gone to the concession stand and come back all that time that we gave him to throw that. If y'all not as fired up as I am, I question if you're really an Alabama fan because this is pathetic. Like, this is literally pathetic.
So this kind of get into each of our talking points. But before that, we do have a few super chats to get to. Thank you to everyone who is with us today. And definitely thank you for the people who are giving from their overflow. First, we got Jeremy Matthews, $4.99. Those edge rushers from South Carolina remind me of Jadeveon Clowney. That shows you we got to recruit those types of players.
Look, real quick, let me say something really quick. Jadeveon Clowney, I literally thought about him during this game, and that's sad because remember what I think that was 2010 ish,
11.
2000. I thought we won the Natty that year.
Oh no, I thought you were talking about the Michigan game
when we played South Carolina when Jadeveon Clowney was still there, and I think we lost to them too.
We did.
Oh yeah, that was you're right.
But yeah, and it's funny as we're watching the recruiting that's going on right now, as each commit comes one right after the other, we're seeing high-profile wide receivers. We're seeing some 5-star DBs, but I'm a little concerned because we're not seeing those 5-star edge rushers. We're not seeing those 5-star defensive linemen commit. So that's a little bit concerning to me. But we do have some good dudes. I am excited about London Simmons and what he's going to bring. He's got that nasty. I think he's a very underrated recruit. But we've got to beef up that interior. Jason Bernard, $4.99. This scheme is terrible. Kane won't be back. Is worse than Pete. Turn off his key fob to the facility immediately. This is embarrassing.
Go get him out of here.
I can't say anything to defend him.
Whoa. I don't know, man. I wouldn't jump that far. I get it. But at the same time, if you look at the DBs we have too, especially when Jackson went down, who Malachi Moore is all you have now, because everybody else is literally a freshman, and including Sab basically. Sab first year at Bama. He was a freshman last year on the Michigan team. So I don't know, man. I don't know because, like I said, man, if they come next week and they play Tennessee and beat Tennessee like that, I'm gonna say what it is now. We get up for big games and we play down to the competition for those games. Sometimes I got a feeling that's what this team is because, man, we got up for Georgia. You're not gonna tell me we can't do what we did then. It's the defense too. The defense was playing great. The offense was playing great. The second half, a little bit different story, but also you can expect that from Kirby versus Vanderbilt, South Carolina. So
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
I get that.
And this in a super chat, but comes from Jonathan Taylor. We like a punishing run game that was a staple under Nick Saban. We're going to get to that part because y'all talked at length about the running game on your show, so we're going to talk about that in the next segment. So hold tight, Jonathan. Hold tight, Cici. I know you got something to say, and I'm looking forward to hearing it. But $2. This team is getting worse. I see a little bit of regression, so it can be concerning. Nick Beasley Show, $4.99. The South Alabama defense last year was lazy on the field and not competitive, so I don't know why we hired him anyway. Interesting. Gavin Kane, $4.99. 425 has to go. Every team will run and throw intermediate throws on us all day long. Well, if you don't adjust to what's going on, absolutely. You really don't have to do very much. All you got to do is just bulldoze ahead, occasionally throw over the middle. You're good. You're golden. VP, $5. We're playing to the level of our competition. Walmart needs to learn to blitz on 3rd and long, and the board needs to start showing some energy.
Agreed.
Okay, Still Bill. Okay, it's in a super chat, but I'd like to address this because this is something that definitely irks me during the game. Like I mentioned before, going into this game, I think we need to stop all the showboating and we need to be more about business. You just got embarrassed by a Vanderbilt team that, yes, they are improving. They're very well coached, but it's still Vandy. So I felt like you needed to come into this game all business, just hitting people in the mouth, making a big statement and leaving all that at the house and leaving all that at TikTok for after the game. Still, Bill, why anyone on this team celebrates anything is ridiculous. Milroe didn't learn a damn thing last week, runs the ball in today, and couldn't wait to showboat. He can forget the Heisman.
I don't agree with that.
I'm sorry. He lost the Heisman with this game. He had on the pick that was in the end zone. He had Ryan Williams wide open on the opposite side and failed to make his way through progressions and purposely threw into double coverage when he had one-on-one with arguably the greatest high point receiver in college football right now, him or Smith from Ohio State. So I don't get that. That's not a Heisman quarterback, in my opinion.
Well, while he
right.
did have a bad day, at some point everyone's going to have that game that they want to take back. I don't think that his Heisman chances are hurt per se. Now, if it's something that continues, then yeah, you can definitely look at that possibility. But this is just one of those days where he's off, things weren't hitting, and with everything just kind of breaking down around him, it got into his head, and he went playing like the quarterback that we've seen the past few weeks. Against Vandy, again, that wasn't on him last week. He played a good enough game, a great game, actually, stat-wise, to where we could have won. So I don't necessarily agree with throwing him under the bus just yet. Cece, you said you wanted to add something?
Yeah, no, I don't like that. I don't like that wishy-washiness, because just a couple weeks ago when we beat Georgia, everyone is talking about Jalen Milroe for the Heisman this, Heisman that. Then it takes 1 week and then he's out of it when we lost against Vandy or today. So I don't agree with that. I also don't agree with, I get to some degree when you're down, you shouldn't be out there showboating. But I do believe, because that dance that he did, I believe that was our first or second touchdown. I do understand that a part of that celebration is about getting the momentum up from the fan base, but also getting those energy levels up. So I think there has to be an aspect of that. So I don't necessarily agree with this comment. I get it to some regard, especially when we're down, but a part of that has to be there as far as getting that momentum up, because we definitely didn't see it from Coach DeBoer. Because my thing is that send me down there, give me one of them jobs, send me down there, because I'm not gonna be walking up and down that field looking like I don't know why I'm there. Coach DeBoer could have stayed under that tunnel, and Womack could have gone right back down to South Alabama, because if they don't want to be there, they should not be there. It's not enough to wear Alabama on your little hoodie that you got on, Coach DeBoer. It's not enough Womack to be out there looking like a squirrel, and I'm gonna keep saying that until he gets it together. It's not enough. You don't need to just add Alabama to your resume. You either come there and you stay up to the standard. We out there dedicating the field to Coach Saban, coach up to the standard, or just keep it moving, because we win national championships over here. Like, this is unacceptable. I'm not accepting this. I'm sorry. I'm not accepting this.
Right. One more super chat, and then we got to move into our topics. And folks who are giving in, folks who are asking questions, don't worry, we will get to you in between segments. So hold tight. Let me get this last one here from Jason Haywood, $5. If Jeremy Bernard slides down and bounds instead of scoring, we run the clock out, and that last series doesn't happen. We got to play smarter.
Agreed.
I think clock management as a whole needs to greatly improve. That's been one thing that's just blown my mind, how when you have the opportunity to bleed clock and essentially take control of the game, you choose not to. You still want to run the fast-paced offense. It wasn't until way late towards that last touchdown drive you're talking about that we actually started waiting until like the second or third 3 or 2 seconds left, on the clock before we snapped it. Man, it's been a constant issue. And I think a lot of our anxiety goes away if we just manage clock better. Anyone want to add to this?
I completely agree. They had no timeouts left. It was under the 2 minutes. He should have slid down 100%. It's crazy that he didn't.
I agree with it too. I just think though, when you're in that moment, though, it's hard to do that and think of that when you're in the moment. I agree. But that should be something that should be coached, though, because that, like you just said, as a player in that moment, you're thinking of scoring. That's your job. Like, as a coach, though, your job is to tell him in that moment, though, kneel on the 5, on the 3, right there in bounds would have been smooth. Hand the ball off, kneel it. It's over with type deal. I get it. I get Monty Jackson at the end with the pick. Like, trying to run right there. Like, I would have never left the end zone at that point. He was trying to run those 5 seconds off, and then, that'd be the end of the game. But either way, Milroe and them would have came out and nailed it. You got to be smarter right there.
It just goes back to coaching. It goes right back to coaching.
It really does almost. Everything for the most part.
Game management.
Especially today.
Situational football at that point.
Last week as well. Benny managed the clock well.
Oh yeah. You are for sure right. Yeah,
All right, let's get to our actual topics real quick. One thing we like to focus on is circling back at the end of every game and talk about our expectations going into every game, and then match them up with what we actually saw on the field. So let's go around the room. Let's talk about honestly what we expected going into this game, because for me, and Assisi, I'll let you really take the baton on this. I expected us to establish more of a run game. I wanted those backs to eat. Justice and Jam, I wanted them to have a big day. One of them, if not both, going over 100 yards, really establishing that dominance, because you really had to because of those edge rushers.
Mm-hmm.
But anytime we started getting things going, we started developing a rhythm in the run game. Completely went back the other direction. Talk to me, Sishi. What were your expectations from the run game, and as well as anything else that you kind of had going in, and Matt versus what you saw?
Well, I'm just thankful for one that that God has been working with me on cursing, so I'm not going to be cursing today. But as much as I would really love to use certain words, I'm not going to do that today. Now, first things first. I mentioned earlier how certain things that we were doing that was working, we stopped doing it. A part of that was the run, right? Because a part of the run game, you're able to better manage that clock. Vanderbilt figured that out. South Carolina figured that out as well. You're able to be a little bit more in control of, the clock. And so we got away from that because I believe Jam had maybe over 10 carries, maybe about 12 or 13. But even then, Justice and Jam, they both should have had more carries than they had.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, honestly, when you look at even the O-line, missed tackles. I mean, to some degree, Milroe. I have so much I want to say. I just don't even know how to. Okay, number 5, Kennard for South Carolina. We should have had our right tackle and a tight end on him the entire game. I mean, when Milroe was getting sacked, a lot of it was more so number 5 coming off the edge. And my thing is if we know that this guy is that good, that he's that elite, that powerful off the edge. Womack doesn't know, or our coaches don't know that. Sheridan don't know that. What's really going on? We stopped what was working. The first quarter, we could have kept that 14-0. We could have easily taken that up to maybe 21-7. They shouldn't have gotten that first touchdown. The 7 and the 2. So the safety in that first touchdown, they got that because of our errors. That 7 points that they got, ain't no reason why any team should be able to convert on a 4th and long against Alabama like that.
Right.
Not only that, like I said, he had all the time in the world. He could have left and came back. He could have left that game and came back all the time that he had, and then he was wide open like that. That's on us. That was on us. A part of it was of course coaching, the safety as well. I mean, it's just so many things, but we got away from what was working, and it's all of that is on the coaches, I believe.
Absolutely. And I'm going to throw it over to you real quick. Marshall, Abel Kane's brother, saying South Carolina did a good job limiting Ryan Williams like no other team has been able to do. And I'm not sure what your expectations were this week in terms of the wide receivers, but I think we can collectively agree that we need someone besides Ryan Williams to step up and take that pressure off of him, and then also not be that security blanket, because at some point he is going to be neutralized, which today he was. Jeremy Bernard did a great job. But can you touch on this, and what were your expectations for receivers, and more so another one actually stepping up? I mean, Prentice was out today. He couldn't go. Mm-hmm. Kendrick Law was back. It was
a game time decision
at all. But go ahead.
It was a no-go. Yeah, like you just mentioned, Kendrick Law was a game time decision. He was a no-go. Obviously, Prentice was out. We saw a lot of Caleb Odom in the game. I'm not sure if you guys saw him. He just didn't get a lot of targets. But I had a feeling that South Carolina was going to try and take Ryan Williams out of the game, and they did for the most part, because a lot of people, if I'm not mistaken, South Carolina secondary has the lowest completion percentage in the SEC at 53, 54%. So people got to take that into consideration. And then back on to Josh's earlier point, I'm sorry I had to take it into consideration. Damani Jackson did not catch the football, the last interception in the end zone. If he kneeled it down in the end zone, it would have been a safety and then a tie game. He had to run it out. That's why Malachi Moore was telling him to get out of the end zone. He caught it on the 2 or 1 yard line. He has to take it back out. Otherwise, it would have been another safety. I saw someone put that in the comments, and I had to get that out of there. But my expectations, especially for the wide receivers, I thought we were going to eat. I'm sorry. I thought this was going to be a blowout, because I thought they were going to be pissed off. I thought the coaches were going to be pissed off, like to show that they're Division I SEC football coaches, not just Alabama football coaches, just Division I SEC football coaches. You just lost a game that you should not have lost. Just be pissed off. Like, I completely agree with everybody in the chat and what y'all have said previously. I want to see more emotion from my coaching staff. It's absurd that they're not doing what they need to do to not like, think about it. Most of our defense is young kids. We have very little leadership. Maybe Malachi Moore and Lawson. That's it. If you really think about it, in terms of seniority, Sabat just transferred here. Damani Jackson just transferred here.
Well, you have Devontae Smith as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but he's been in and out of the lineup so much. He's been hurt. He can't, yes, you can do vocal stuff from the thing, but a lot of the times being the leader on the field can be a lot more impactful. And we keep seeing Sab and Malachi Moore bump heads. But obviously the reality of the situation, I just want to see more fight. Like, I want to see more effort.
Right.
It doesn't look like sometimes it doesn't look like they want to be there. And that's sad.
And it does look like at times with things just going downhill that they check out. And I feel like we're going to lose this team per se if everything starts exploding in front of their eyes. I don't know if y'all got that feeling, but I started to get it at one point.
Yeah.
In the chat, I'll get back to you. People keep asking about Jalen Hill. He's not going to be back until much later in the season.
Yeah,
it's probably going to be towards the end, possibly postseason, if we are able to make it to that point. But yeah, right now Jalen Hill is still in recovery mode. So,
he hasn't even physical therapy or anything.
He's probably had his physical therapy because
he's
he got
doing all that.
Around. Yeah. I think before he did.
But no practice or reps or anything to your knowledge.
No.
I was just curious. He's one of my favorite players.
JT, talk to us about your expectations going into this game. We've talked about the running backs. We talked about the wide receivers. What were some things that you thought would have shown up this week or this game that, and this compared to what we actually saw on the field?
Yeah. So this should have been a blowout. This should have been a 40-60 burger right here. We should have blew them out of the water. Definitely them coming into Saban Field and doing this is like a slap in the face. And there's only so many times it's going to happen in Tuscaloosa like that till a lot of questions do get raised.
And we just lost your – there you go.
Yeah, my phone went out. So I'm going to hope and pray that they get this thing fixed this week.
All right, simple enough. And we just lost him for just a moment. We'll give him some time because we have a few super chats to get to before we move on to our next topic. Nick Bisley Show, $4.99. Kalen coaching like he's coaching in the Pac-12 still. It does have that kind of feel. I feel like a lot of the emphasis is being placed solely on the offense. It has that feel of Lincoln Riley. So I'm getting a little concerned.
Too much finesse.
And as we know in the SEC, it just does not bode well if you're all offense and no defense. Don Parker, there he is, $10. And the spirit of legendary WWE tag team, the New Age Outlaws. I got 2 words for you. Dumpster fire. Whoa. And that's being nice. The players deserve better than this. Do we have Fire Cane t-shirts yet? I don't know, CC, you have made a few t-shirts.
She's got some. She's printing them out right now.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say we're going to be sure to tune in to Crimson Dynasty this Wednesday evening, 7:30 Eastern, because we'll have them on sale for sure.
All right.
So,
Don Parker, another $5. Let's give credit to Bama's coaching staff for allowing this to be a game today. This is how you respond to the embarrassment of last week.
Another embarrassment.
Yeah, that is a question here. Is this how you respond?
This isn't a response.
It wasn't a response. He's just playing patty cake at that point.
Yeah,
we said on Crimson Dynasty this week that this will be a redemption game for the defense and especially coaching. I mean, just like, what can you do? What changes can you make? What can you show the fan base before going on the road to Tennessee? And when Tennessee lost against Arkansas last week, that raised the stakes so much higher for our game next weekend. So, I mean,
Yep.
Or is it one of those games where after experiencing an embarrassing loss, where the next game mentally you may not be all there because of that, so you just do what you need to do to win, to kind of get back in the win column? Do we kind of look at it as that, or do we look at that, hey, we got some serious problems still and this is unacceptable?
I wouldn't say serious, but we definitely have problems. Like, for sure, there are definitely problems. There's no way you can fall asleep behind the wheel of this school. I'm sorry, 2 weeks in a row. Not like this. I don't care who's driving. It's unacceptable.
do we know if Kane Womack, I mean, I'm assuming that before they hired him, they checked his resume. Do we know if he has any familiarity with the 4-3? Like, does he just like what made him so gun-ho on a 4-2-5 coming into the SEC, and to the point where you have Coach Saban still has an office there? Now, I'm not sure what level of interaction he has with the coaches, but you would think with Coach Saban being more of a defensive-minded guy, he would have, he could have sat down with Coach even if it was just him and Coach DeBoer, just sit down with them and let them know, like, hey, in the SEC, I don't think a 4-2-5 is going to be sustainable unless you're playing certain like a Western Kentucky, nothing against them, but it just seems like maybe Womack doesn't understand. There are certain things that Womack does not understand, and to me, I'm like, you're not qualified to be a defensive coordinator at the University of Alabama. You can go back to South Alabama with your level of knowledge and expertise that you have. It's not to say that he's not good enough for South Alabama, but he's not good enough for the University of Alabama, so he can go head back down to Mobile, wherever they're located.
Well said.
Hey.
Be more flexible. Be more flexible. If you love the 4-2-5 so much, okay, guess what? I have access to the greatest college football coach of all time in an office two stories above me, hypothetically. Let me go pick his brain. Let me implement some of his defenses with mine so that it becomes the best defense I can make it with the players I have available. Because he can easily implement a 4-3 and make it as simple as possible in certain situations. Hey, it's first down. This is a pass-heavy team. A 4-2-5 might be the best option right now. Okay, it's 3rd and 1. I don't need 5 DBs. I need some muscle.
Right.
But there's a factor to that as well, where we can't complicate it like we did a few years ago with Pete Golden, where we got all these different plays that we're calling for the defense and it confuses them. But at the same time, I mean, why can't they go? I mean, Kevin Steele last year, he did a much better job than what, Womack is doing. Get Jeremy Pruitt. I don't care anything about a show clause. He can that first year, if they actually read through the legal part of it, the language of what the penalties are, he can work in the background for that. I believe for that first year, it's a 6-year show cause, but he can still work in the background as an analyst. He can't be out there on the field, but there's a way to at least get some information from him. People can say what they want about Pruitt, but he was one of the best defensive coordinators that we had.
I agree.
And I will tell you, I have been talking to someone close to Jeremy Pruitt. A lot of phone calls have been made to Jeremy here this past week. Wow. So yeah, but not saying that anybody's being fired, moved in or out. And listen, I think the influence of Nick Saban as far as his role now isn't what everybody thinks it is. I think the narrative that he still has a hand on this team, he's still advising, isn't necessarily true. But I do
he's doing
think
a lot with the media, right?
He is. I do think that maybe he should be consulted. Now, I can understand from a standpoint to where you don't want your players seeing you run to Nick Saban and bringing him in to fix everything because maybe the respect of you may be hindered. But the thing is, you don't have to do that. You can go to him behind closed doors and just sit down and say, look, coach, this isn't working. I'm going to humble myself before you. Can you help us out? Tell us where we're not hitting and how we can kind of correct this. And it may be something simple, but I think maybe a conversation should be had, but I'm not going to be one of those people who starts the bring Saban back talk or he should come out of retirement. But I mean, this is DeBoer's team. I get that, but it's okay to get a little bit of counseling when things just aren't working. So let's go ahead and move on to our next topic. I mean, we may have already covered this, but there may be some things we kind of didn't touch on. But really, what surprised us? I guess for me, the lack of give a damn, the lack of prove it, the lack of, hey, we're still Alabama showing up on the field is what surprised me. It surprised me that we continue to week after week just mentally implode and nearly cause our own destruction. But I'm just the host. Y'all are the people they want to see and hear. So I'm gonna pass it first to you, Cishi, and then to our boy down here. Cishi, what really surprised you? And chat too. Talk to us. What were some of the surprises you saw in this game, or what were you surprised you didn't see? Weigh in. Go ahead, Cishi.
Yeah, it's the lack of consistency. I would say that that's because a lot of what we're saying now, we said it a week ago. And most of us said it when we played South Florida, so it's the lack of consistency. All this softness, and I'm seeing it in the chat too, all this softness and the excuses. I don't want to hear any of that. That applies for other teams. That does not apply for Alabama. When you say, oh, give them a chance, they're new, cut the guys some slack.
They're young.
I don't care about that. What do you mean? They were young a few years ago when we won the national championship. It was young guys on the team then. I don't want those excuses. We don't use those excuses here at Alabama. We always talk about the standard, but it seems like the goalposts move in terms of the standard, not the way Vanderbilt moved the goalpost last week after the game, but it seems like that goalpost continues to move every single week. I'm tired of the excuses, and it seems like Coach DeBoer and this little raggedy Womack that we have, it seems like they've been hearing some of this soft sentiment to where they think that we as a fan base are going to give them so much grace to go out there on that field and play around like we have nothing to play for. Like we're literally like we one of these raggedy schools where we're just circling a certain game on the calendar. It's almost like they circled Georgia and Tennessee, but then we're just looking past. That's not the Bama way. We don't do things like that. So it just seems like that softness is kind of seeped in to Coach DeBoer and Kane Womack to where they feel like we're giving them so much grace. They're 6 games in. It's literally no excuse. I don't care if it was 2 or 3 games in. I don't care. You're going to bring these coaches in. They need to know how to coach. And that just is what it is.
But Marshall, isn't this what Alabama recruits sign up for? It's for the big moments. The opportunity to make a name for yourself, not only in the college level, but get to the NFL. And hey, there is a chance you may be called upon a lot earlier than maybe some of the others are. The being young thing only goes so far, like she said. And it just seems to me that this generation of athlete, it's commonplace to constantly make excuses for things. Why can't we hold people accountable on the field?
You're doing them a disservice. You're doing these players, as good as they are, you're doing them a disservice by downplaying them. Don't say that they're too young. We got the best of the best talent collectively on both sides of the ball. We have the best of the best talent. There's no excuses.
If it's a situation, sorry, Marshall.
Quickly agree with y'all's statement. Isn't Ryan Williams young? If I'm not mistaken, he's one of the best wide receivers in the country.
Exactly. He is the best. Exactly.
And in terms of young, then I'll pass over to you, Marshall, to talk about what surprised you. That's where the leaders need to step up.
Agreed.
The leadership is what's concerning. I mean, yes, we know Jalen Milroe is the established leader. And we know that Malachi Moore is the established leader, but there's a lot more upperclassmen than just Jalen Milroe and Malachi Moore. So if the young guys are having a hard time, pull them to the side and say, look, bro, I need you to calm down. I need you to listen to me. This is what we need from you. This is how you correct this. Instead of just letting it go on week after week after week. Go ahead, Marshall. What surprised you? Does it fall in line with what Cishi just mentioned in terms of this game, or is there something maybe we hadn't talked about yet?
I think we have plenty of age at the right positions. We have a past All-American safety in Malachi Moore. We have a All-American potential middle linebacker in Lawson, and both of those guys should be able to point people in the right direction. They have played here long enough. Malachi Moore has a ring. Like, it's no, you can the guys who you are pointing to point in the right direction have just as much athletic ability than you, if not more, and they're younger than you, which means they got more energy. Like, no, there is no excuse. Do your job. Look at the symbol that's on the side of your helmet in the middle of your jersey. We call it the Bama standard for a reason. We can't be surprised anymore. Like, it's just ridiculous.
Well said. Let's go to our next topic. Before we do that, again, we got some more super chats to get to. Thank you so much for everyone who is giving, no matter what the dollar amount is. We appreciate anything. We don't ask y'all to give anything. We just ask you to be a part of the chat. We ask you to hang out with us a little bit, because this is a therapy session and a learning session, not just for us, but for you as well. So here we go. Let's start off with Dylan Elam, $4.99.
Come in peace.
Tennessee fan, but I come in peace. Don't worry, we're not going to jump on you, Dylan. How are y'all feeling about next week's matchup? Actually, we're going to get to that. So if you kind of hold tight, we have a segment that's dedicated to that. And definitely there's a lot to be talked about there. And King Nico is a problem. Terrius Simmons, $2 and $5. Yeah.
Maybe that means another one is coming.
Oh, okay. A preview of what's ahead. Is that the trailer? Don Parker, $5. We need DeBoer. That seat just got hot. T-shirts. 2. Think I'm joking? This is Alabama, or has 17 years of saving made us forget that? We'll have to ask our apparel department what the status is on that. Upgrade, $9.99. 4-2-5 defense won a national championship last season. This exact same defense beat Alabama last year. Also, Saban went with Walmart during the spring. Met with Walmart during the spring about this defense.
Well, they need to meet again.
Did they meet, or is that what we are told? Because sometimes.
Okay, real quick, Justin. Real quick, sir, for who just commented that, if I'm not mistaken, we are out of the last 20 drives, the last 2 games, they have scored 14 times, and they're over 60 to 70% on third down, and they're at 85 to 90% on fourth down. I think the 4-2-5 needs to be looked at. I'm sorry.
It does, but thank you.
And guess what those opponents are? Vanderbilt and South Carolina.
Yeah.
It's not like I was and even go back to the Georgia game. They were we held them on third down, but they crushed us on fourth down.
Mm-hmm.
All right, moving right along. We got positives and not so positive takeaway. I think we've hit on the not so positives. So let's kind of hone in on any positive takeaways that we saw today. For me, first off, I like how Jalen Milroe was able to overcome adversity. A lot self-imposed. Nonetheless, he was able to overcome that. He was able to lead the team to victory. I got to give a shout out to the play of Q Robinson. He's probably the most consistent player on our defense. Whenever we need a big play, he's there. But let me give it to y'all. Marshall, start us out. Tell me the positives you saw, and then we'll jump to Sishi.
I very impressed by he did give up that one catch, but I was impressed by Mbakwe. When Jackson went down, he came in and stepped up pretty nicely, in my opinion. But I do agree with you with Robinson. I think he's been the most consistent player, and I think he needs to see the field more. I feel bad for the running backs. That's really all my thing. I feel like they deserve 15 plus each carries a game, and I wish they would get more. Sorry.
True. Sishi, tell me some positives that you saw. I know we've been kind of beating on them all cast long, but there had been something you saw that made you, I guess, somewhat comforted. But what was your takeaway there?
Yeah, I would say Cole Adams. Cole Adams is
Yeah.
definitely my positive. I mean, I was so proud of him. And, we saw glimpses of him during A Day, I believe the South
Hmm.
Florida game. It was another game where he showed up. And I think that he's a very good fit for, because I'm a huge fan of Jalen Hale as well. You mentioned him, Marshall, and I was really
Yep.
hoping to see him during the regular season this year. However, I think Cole Adams is a great, almost not necessarily a replacement, but a good guy to step in.
Of course.
I feel like in Cole Adams, he's showing that he can be a solid playmaker. So I'm really happy
Mhm.
to see that. Um, I would say, as far as the ones that were not as positive, I do want to see the running backs get their hands on the ball a lot more. And, I understand why we kind of, utilize Milroe a little bit more than maybe we probably wanted to. But I believe a part of that does go back to coaching. Some of that has to do with coaching and play calling. I mean, when we were literally all the way at the end zone, and when they got that safety, why are we throwing the ball that far? I mean, and when I'm looking at that, I'm thinking, okay, well, we need to get away from that end zone as quickly as possible. What I saw, Miro could have ran that ball. We could have gotten maybe about 5 to 6 yards just to get away from there. Like, if
Yeah.
I can see it, why can't they see it? I
Yeah.
mean, that's what really bothers me. But
Li-
one more thing, Caleb Odom, if you're going to switch him over from a tight end to a wide receiver, throw the ball to him. Otherwise, just keep him at tight end and have him blocking. Like, it literally makes no sense.
Agreed.
And
I
I
mean,
would like to see one thing I've kind of seen more of is the integration of the tight ends, but we'll start to go to them, we'll utilize them, and they're working. CJ Dupree is really doing well. When he's involved, he can make a big difference in extending drives. But again, just like the running backs, we go away from the use of the tight end. I don't understand that. It's like we have to be the Ryan Williams, Jeremy Bernard show all game long, and we can't really involve anyone else. I mean, shout out to Ryan. I mean, he's earned the respect. Shout out to Jeremy. He is doing some big things, but we got some talented guys who need to be utilized more. CJ Dupree didn't come over here from Maryland to just get one or two passes every 3 games. Use this guy. He's an NFL tight end. He's a guy who's going to be playing on Sunday for quite some time, and he's a mismatch. So why don't we use that to our advantage? Real quick, let's get to a few more super chats. Then we got to go to another sponsor. Dale B, $5. There's no leadership on the team. If there was, you would see those leaders acting like it on the sidelines.
That's true.
That's a fair point.
$4.99. During the same 10 quarters, I can show you players walking to a tackle. I can agree to that. There has been kind of lackluster, lackadaisical performance
We said
out there.
it all show long. Effort, baby, effort.
Without a doubt. All right. Real quick, our other sponsor, I can't talk. I'm so fired up. Our other sponsor, that is, Title Towel. Your game day is not complete. Your season is not complete until you have purchased your Title Towel and you're waving it, whether at the stadium or in your living room, game after game. Visit them today, whitwellsports.com. Enter the promo code STANDARD. You get a nice discount courtesy of your favorite network, the Bama Standard Network. That's right, folks. Get your own Title Towel today. All right, we're going to move right along. We appreciate everyone for hanging out with us today. Now,
don't forget to like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe, please. We greatly appreciate
you. For our
you.
Twitter folks, too.
Now, this is where we kind of start to think about what's really in front of us. This is tough because of what we're experiencing. We needed a lot more today to feel good about the third Saturday in October. We don't have such a good feeling. The confidence level is kind of on the bottom side of things. So let's talk about it. Tennessee, yes, they lost to Arkansas last week, but we're not going to shame Arkansas and Sam Pittman. They're a well-coached team. They're a good team. They can hit you in the mouth. They're very respectable. So, and
physical.
You always have to expect a great game out of Arkansas. Yes, you, like you said, the very physical team. But Tennessee is no joke. We're facing a real quarterback next week. Nico. I'm not going to try to pronounce his last name because I'm from Mississippi. and I'd rather not be made fun of for the next week. But nonetheless, King Nico is that dude. He's precision personified. He's got some receivers. He's got some backs. They also have a defense. Tennessee is about as balanced as it comes. And yeah, they did have an this past week, but don't let it fool you. They're good. So let's talk about it. CC, start us out. How do you feel going into this matchup? And do you have any kind of comfort that we will do all right against the Volunteers on the road in Neyland Stadium?
Well, I'll say this. I'll say that for me, this is a two-part question when we say where is Bama going forward, because we have to separate Kane Womack from that question. Where is Alabama going forward? We're going to, University of Tennessee for the game. Where is Kane Womack going? He's going back to South Alabama. I mean, I think it's just, it's that time. Huh?
He can go home.
He can. Honestly, I'm not willing to see, people can be as soft as they want to be, but when you're a true Alabama fan, you don't want to see, because I could see if we were lacking in terms of talent, but that's not the excuse. We did great in terms of the portal after, all the adversity earlier this year. We've done great in recruiting. So there's literally no excuse. It's just the coaches. So at this point, I believe that, we do seem to know how to show up in those bigger games, as far as the plan up and playing down and all the good stuff. But that's a problem. So we need to work on that. I think offensively, we do Jalen Milroe. I do like what I'm seeing with him as far as him being more poised. I like that. I don't see a whole lot of not that emotional, I like to see emotional in a negative way. I like to see the positive emotions from him, but I like that he's a lot more poised this year. He's doing really good as far as even like those shorter passes compared to last year. So I'm comfortable with Milroe. I'm comfortable with the playmakers that we have on offense. I believe with Nick Sheridan, the key thing with him is going to be, we still need to see more carries on the ground, because those DBs at Tennessee, they're going to be on Ryan Williams. Now they're going to be on Jeremy Bernard, maybe Kobe Prentice if we have him and Kendrick Law, and then Cole Adams, he can be kind of like an X factor for us, but it's going to be huge to run game. We can't let Nico sit up there and think he's going to throw all over Alabama. We need to be on him just like Oklahoma was in that first half of their game against them, and how Arkansas was. So honestly, I'm going to always be an Alabama fan, but at this point it's just kind of we need to see Coach DeBoer. I'm tired of that. I don't like to see those soft coaches, because it trickles down and then we play soft. So we'll see. We'll see.
Oh, real quick. We got the man, the myth, legend, Stephen M. Smith, who was at the game.
Brother Stephen.
And he just actually left the press conference. He just spoke with Jalen Milroe. Real quick, Stephen, before I give it to you, Stephen, talk to me, Marshall, about Tennessee, and then we're going to let Stephen have the platform to talk to us about what he learned in the press conference.
My bad, JR. I didn't mean to cut you off right there, big dog. I've been doing it all day. Going forward with Tennessee, I'm really about 50-50 on it at this point, because I'm like, if we win, obviously you want to, but if we lose, you're like, what time at this point of right now, we know what type of team Tennessee has. I completely agree with what CC said about, you got to make Nico uncomfortable. They have a decent defense. It's above average. They got athletes across the field just like we do. They got wide receivers. That man can light up a Christmas tree. I don't know what more needs to be said. They are well coached. They had a little bit of a stumble, just like we did. Did they play this week? I can't remember. Florida.
Yeah, I think they play Florida at home, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Today.
But you definitely have to make a quarterback with that type of accuracy. You have to make him uncomfortable, just like you would have Milroe. Otherwise, they're going to dart you up. I don't know if they're going to be able to fully contain Ryan Williams, because I have a strong feeling, even though we are not expecting it from our defensive coordinator, I think they're going to find new ways of, guess what? This is the first team that has really bracketed Ryan Williams and kind of taken him out of the game. I feel like they're going to find new ways to get him involved in terms of different types of motions and so on and so forth. At least we can hope. But it's going to be a very, very powerful game for us. That's really all I can say.
Absolutely. And real quick before I pass it to Steven, one of the best ways to limit a quarterback like Nico is keep that offense off the field, especially with our struggling
Agreed.
defense. That means we got to
Man.
run the ball, establish that run game, whatever it is, whatever reason you're deciding to avoid it like the plague. You need to get over it. You need to feed Justice. You need to feed Jam. Put those elite backs to work. Said it Tuesday. Feed them before they're fed up and they end up leaving. But anyway,
Great saying.
Stephen M. Smith, you were there. You were able to witness all of it from your celebrity press box, and you were able to enjoy the fruits of being a celebrity with all your catered food and drink and whatnot.
Man, with nothing catered, man, we had them old hot dogs.
Not the hot dogs.
It was nothing catered, man. There was no celebrity box, man. I had nothing but hot dogs. But
Hey,
anyway,
Steven, did they let Kane Womack eat, or is he on his way back to South Alabama?
man, they didn't let that man sniff a meal. That man didn't sniff nothing. I made sure he didn't get nothing.
Good.
I made sure he didn't get a thing. I almost had me and Don the Deacon here calling that defense.
Oh my God.
Now, they wouldn't let me on the field, Justin, with my chair with 5 man. I had to
Look-
pull Ray out on them.
Look how Marshall looking at you.
They would not let me in with that chair. But
Well, talk to me about the post-game presser. What was said? Yeah, let us know, man. You talk to the right people.
okay. So here it is. The post-game press conference, of course, you're going to have King and the boys saying that, hey, we found a way to win. Okay, yes, you found a way to win, but it was not the standard of how to win. There is so many problems with this team. The tackling's not there. The physicality's not there. The toughness ain't there. The energy is not there. There are problems. There are a lot of real deal problems with this Alabama football team. This 4-2-5 look like a 2-5-5. I don't know what this is.
It does.
I mean, I don't know what this is. Tim Smith had a good game, yes. Jordan Renard made a big play. Edric Hugh made a big play. There were a couple of guys on the defensive line to which I went, okay, I see you, and I see you. The rest of y'all, I don't know where y'all at. Some of y'all on a milk carton. Get off the darn milk carton and make a play out here.
Said they're missing.
Hey,
that
shout out my boy Robinson.
That was a problem. That was a problem for me. And for goodness sake, aside from James Burnup, where was the special teams? Aside from James Burnup, where was the special teams? But here's what I will say. Alabama needs to have a motivational guy back on that sideline, y'all. Because mentally, they're not there. Mentally, this team is not there, and you can see it. The penalties are still a problem. The bad plays are still a problem. There is a lack of just, I'm going to put your behind in the dirt, and I'm not letting off of it. That's not there. I'm going to put you 6 feet under this ground, and you ain't coming up for air. That's not there. And there's got to be that tapping into your mental. Mm-hmm. Nobody has been able to tap into the mental of these players. I'm tired of all the niceness of DeBoer and this staff. We're fine. We're good. We're okay. No, you ain't fine. You ain't good. You ain't okay. Mike Schumer almost walked right in here and took your cookies. Mike Schumer almost walked right in here and pimp slapped the mess out of you. Mike freaking Schumer almost walked right in here after 2 decades of not being in here. Mike Schumer almost took your soul on TV. You are not okay. You are not all right. There needs to be some changes going on here with this program. Like I said, I almost took Kane Womack's headset from him. They had to literally escort me back upstairs. Me and the chair.
You should have. You and
me and the chair. So there has got to be some serious changes happening because the former players aren't happy. I'm seriously not happy. It was a win, but it was one. It was not one of those we won. It was like, whew, what a relief. We escaped. Good God Almighty.
Good God Almighty. Were y'all? I was more upset today than I was last week. Did y'all feel that?
Yes.
I mean,
look. It's like you're upset for both weeks. Neither of these two teams should be on the same field with you.
No, agreed.
Neither of these two should be on the same field with you. And you're getting beat by the same shovel pass. If I see one more shovel pass, I declare I'm throwing my TV out the door. Okay? I'm throwing it out. You're getting beat by the same shovel pass. You're getting beat by the same missed tackles. You're getting beat by the same undisciplined. And forget third down defense. We don't have third down defense, okay? We don't have third down defense, all right? We don't have that. I mean, if I got to make a phone call to bring back Jeremy Pruitt myself,
dude,
I would make a phone call to bring back Pruitt.
We were just talking about Jeremy Pruitt. I don't pull him from that high school that he's at because we can actually utilize him on the back end. Y'all got to call him. Like, look.
Look. I will get in the caravan right now and go to Plainview High School and put Jeremy on the back of the pickup.
Well, Stephen, let me ask you something, and I asked you this Tuesday night. Look past all these Sunday school answers that we keep being fed week after week. Listen, I know what to say. I know how to be political, but what is the actual disconnect right now? You're there. You see it.
Look, what's the actual disconnect, Justin? Is we need some coaches with some fire under their bottoms to get into these kids. Well, that's what's missing. People kept saying, well, Saban was too mean. Saban had every right because Saban kept you in check. DeBoer keeps nobody in check. Nobody's being kept in check. Nobody's being held accountable. Nobody's been said, hey, either you get this right or get out of here.
Mm-hmm. Saban had the results, too.
Everybody's being fed kumbaya. Ain't no kumbaya.
None.
God ain't coming by here. He ain't coming by here.
Participation trophy. I'm tired of it.
Yeah.
Nobody stop.
Talk to us about
participation trophy.
The conversations that you had post game. What are they? What is Jalen Milroe saying? What are any of the coaches or players that you had the opportunity to speak with actually saying? And do they give you something that we can really chew on, or is it just more of the Sunday school answers, like I said?
Okay, so probably the only person that gave me some type of fire was Tim Smith. And he was like, look, like, when we play the way we know we are capable of playing, then we can be a team that can wreck some shot. But when we're playing like we're not capable of playing, then this is what we get ourselves into. Tim Smith was like, the game shouldn't have been this close. And this is Tim Smith. The game shouldn't have been this close. And he's absolutely right. It shouldn't have been. It shouldn't have been. It shouldn't have been. Jeremy Bernard said the same thing. It shouldn't have been this close. And it shouldn't have been. It shouldn't have. So what do you have to do to make sure that games like these are not this close? Number one, have some pride on your defense. Like I said, I don't know if you got to take the clipboard from Kane Womack and give it to somebody else. Have some pride on your defense. That's number one. And number two, offensive line. Have some pride in running this football. Nick Sheridan.
Who's Steven?
Two running backs. Give them the football.
Exactly.
Nick Sheridan. You got Justice and Jam. You got J&J, attorney at law. Let them execute some business, please. I mean,
They
please.
prosecutors. Let them take people to jail. Jesus.
I mean, you got J&J, attorney at law, and you got Richard Young Enterprises. Read a football.
Not the attorney at law. Okay, really quickly, Justin, I want to ask Stephen a question really quickly.
Go right ahead.
We were talking about how do we move forward, right? Our game next weekend, of course, Tennessee plays Florida. Actually, they should be playing shortly if they haven't already started. But what do we do about Kane Womack? Because Marshall and I were just talking about how soft they are, and not even, and I say they because I'm talking about Womack and Coach DeBoer. We're tired of this niceness because they could say what they want about Coach Saban when he used to go off on the players and get in their faces. We were still winning national championships, so you can't really have both. You got to really have one or the other. So what does that look like? How do we go forward and beat Tennessee on the road?
How do we go forward, C-Shea? There's got to be a come to Jesus with these coaches. That's how you go forward. I'm starting to get this feeling. Malachi Moore went off last week for a reason, y'all. I know Malachi. I know his family. Malachi just don't go off like that to go off like that. Malachi went off like that for a reason. Malachi was coached by Saban. Malachi went off because Malachi knows something ain't right. Mm-hmm. Malachi don't just kick no football and throw a mouthpiece out of his mouth and have a full-fledged tantrum for no reason. Malachi had a reason why he went off like that, y'all. Because Malachi see it. He see it. Something ain't right.
Very well said. Very well said.
Got to be a come to Jesus with these coaches, and it start with DeBoer. Look, Miss Nicole DeBoer, ma'am, if you hear me, tell your husband it's okay to get mad sometimes. Miss Nicole, tell your husband it's okay to rip somebody up sometimes. Miss DeBoer, tell your husband it's okay to cuss a joker out sometimes.
Very well said. Now listen, before we get to our players of the game, we got a few more super chats we need to give a shout out to. Boom Owens, $5. Include tight end, run back more. We'll open it up for number 2 and number 5, making our offense more explosive. Stephen, has anybody even asked Nick Sheridan or Kalen DeBoer why we're not utilizing the running backs to full capacity? Has anybody just flat out said, Coach, why aren't you doing this?
Nobody has asked that question of why no one is giving this ball to Justice and Jam. Well, I don't understand it. And I feel awful for Jam because he literally, when he touches the ball, it's 5 to 6 yards a carry.
Easy.
I don't get this. And then, by the way, to you officials out there, you see Jam getting targeted every time.
Exactly.
And you're not throwing a flag.
There were multiple.
Yes, there were multiple today.
Return. Henderson on the kickoff return got targeted too.
Yep.
All right. Boom Owens, $5. Tennessee will score at will against a Womack defense.
Look. You know, look, boom. You know what? That ain't going to happen. You know why? Because I'm throwing my name in the DC hat this week.
Look, there you go. Thank you.
Hey, hire me as one of your analysts.
Look, see, me and Ray are going to call this defense.
Not Ray.
It's going to get off the lawnmower. Ray is getting off the lawnmower. It's going to be me and Ray calling it.
Not Ray.
We got
Ray's going to get off of the lawnmower. He already got his playbook dialed up.
Oh God.
Goodness. Hey, hire me as an analyst so we can just turn this thing around.
Absolutely. Don Parker got $2. One more time. Fire Kane around the ham, $9.99. Was told by a friend whose son is on the team that players don't respect the staff and can get away with anything. Atmosphere is way too relaxed. No one is hungry. Boom Owens, $5. This staff doesn't know what the standard is. I think the staff thinks the standard is for the players, not them. Interesting. Nick Beasley Show, $4.99. It's year one. How much time do we give this staff?
They got 8 hours to get out of Tuscaloosa.
8 hours.
They got 8 hours to get out of Tuscaloosa. Because I'm
Juice
tired of
Crew, $2. Lane Kiffin or Jamie Pruitt. Kalen ain't it. All right. Well, thank y'all for that. But listen, we've been here over time. What we're going to do now is we're going to talk about our players of the game, people we actually felt stood out. And there are a few today that did a great job, right? So we're going to call them out. Start me out. Stephen M. Smith, you were there. Tell me who really made a difference in this game that you are really excited about. And then we'll go over to Marshall and then up to Sishi.
You know what? I'll put my three out there. I thought Jerm did well. Jeremy Bernard, Jerm stepped up. I thought Jerm did his thing. I thought T.M. Smith did some stuff out there in that defensive line. I was very proud of T.M. Smith. And last but not least, he got hurt early in the game. But what toughness, the balls of steel, the toughness, Damani Jackson.
Right.
Get your behind back out there and get a game-sealing pick. Happy about Damani getting his tail back out there and getting the game-saving pick.
Love it. Love it. Okay, Marshall, picking up off of that. Who are your players of the game?
I got one offense, one defense. I got to go Bernard or I'm sorry, actually, he already took Bernard. I'm going to go Jalen Milroe because he took so many licks this game. And he kept going up. And like Steven said, every time he touches the ball, 4 or 5 yards of carry. But on defense, I got to go with my boy Mbakwe. He stepped up when Jackson got hurt.
Mbakwe had a hit on somebody. I was like, Bach! That boy got a family.
Steven.
Exactly. He stepped up really big when Jackson got they weren't there's a reason why, for whatever reason, they do not target his side of the field when he is in the game. And that they do it for a reason because they know it's going to go the other way eventually. But those are my two. I got to go Jam and then Mbakwe. I love what those two boys did today.
Good deal. Love those picks. Sishi, who do you have?
I actually have two on both sides. Like I always say, it's kind of, no, I guess today was kind of hard to have two on both sides. But, offensively, of course, Jeremy Bernard, but then also Cole Adams. I have to go with Cole Adams as well. I'm so happy. Yes.
Special teams too.
He's a dog. This guy's a dog. I mean, look, I expect to see him make some huge plays going forward. So those are my two on the offense. On defense, Quandarius Robinson and Damani Jackson. And I was praying for Damani too, because I'm like, I hope and pray that wasn't a serious injury. And when they carted him off, you can kind of see it almost kind of, a look of defeat, if you will. So to see him come back out there and be so physical and even to have that last play of the game, I'm so happy for him. So those are my total of 4.
Nothing at all, but yeah, on offense, I gotta go with Jeremy Bernard. Defense, I got a tie between Tim Smith and Q Robinson. Lights out play.
I like it.
Lights out play. You can't get better than that. I definitely appreciate what those two gentlemen were able to do. And I saw somebody in the chat calling out Tim Keenan, say he needed to go. Tim Keenan has not played a bad game yet. If anyone has fire on the defensive line, it has been Tim Keenan the third. Yeah. He has come with it every single game.
He's been the most consistent player.
He has.
I would not say Tim Keenan. I will say this. LT Overton, bro, you got to finish. LT, you got to finish. You've been getting back there, but you have not been finishing. He had a play against Georgia. He didn't finish. He had plays against Vanderbilt, completely missing Diego Pavia. You got to finish. And he had a couple of plays against South Carolina. I'm like, LT, if you don't finish this play, LT has got to finish.
Yeah.
Agreed. Well, I think we've said pretty much all we can say at this point. Give it a few hours so we can really start to think more and take the emotion out of it. And you'll be able to hear the result of that on our individual shows. So what that means is I'm going to pass it around the room for everyone to tell what their social media is, but also their shows. We're a family we're a network family here. We have several shows. You got to be a part of them if you're not yet a part of them. If you're watching, hit that like and subscribe button. We greatly appreciate anyone who does that. CC, start us off. Then let's go down to Marshall and then Stephen M. Smith.
Yes, you can find me on. I'm actually hosting Crimson Dynasty every Wednesday night, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Bama Standard Network, where we do a full-on breakdown of our opponent for the upcoming week. Y'all don't want to miss this one because we're going to talk about the Tennessee star players. So this will be an exciting one. And then you can find me on X, official Cishi without their apostrophe, so official CCHI, and then on Instagram at beauty_of_intelligence. You can also find me down in Tuscaloosa tomorrow. I'll be helping Kane Womack, move on back down to South Alabama. So feel free to join me. Yeah,
absolutely.
Feel free to join me. Yes, thank you in advance.
Go ahead, Marshall.
You guys can find me at Talking Bama. We go during the off season. We're on Saturday nights, 8 p.m. Central, but during the season we are on Sundays at 7 p.m. Central. They're trying to give y'all that 24-hour breather period. And I got some beautiful, gorgeous co-hosts over there. Y'all come join us there.
All right. Stephen M. Smith, you're all over the place. You're not on just one, but two shows on this network, and then you have your own show on another network. There's never a time you're not doing something. Talk to the folks about how they can find you.
Man, my voice is going to probably be pretty hoarse these next couple of days. We're going to power through it. They can find me on the Bama Standard on Tuesday nights. I'm probably going to have way more energy than Marvin this Tuesday. So check us out Tuesday. So we got the Bama Standard Tuesday. Going to have Talking Bama tomorrow. I'm probably going to be jumping higher than JT tomorrow night. So I'm going to catch me jumping higher than JT tomorrow night. And so Monday, Wednesday, and Friday of next week, got in my own words, Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Got to give a shout out to Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson had a good game also. But also you can find me tomorrow helping Cishi put Kane Womack on the train back to South Alabama.
Good job.
Quick, fast, and in a hurry. Quick, fast, and in a hurry.
The more hands, the better. Hands, the better.
We'll be putting Womack back on the train, and along with that, I'll be getting with Mr. Board to make sure that Kane is not getting mad. I will have that happen. There will be a meeting of Kaylin. It's okay to get ticked off. Get ticked off, man. It's okay to get ticked off. So we'll be taking Kaylin through how to get mad seminar.
Sounds absolutely amazing. We definitely need a video documentary.
No, but let me ask a serious question though. Like how do we get? That's not going to sound good, but I'm going to say it just like that. How do we get rid of him? Like seriously.
Buy out his contract.
How much is it?
You don't want to know.
How much?
It's probably like $2 or $3 million for.
I know they're not paying him that much.
No, you have to buy out the contract. You have to exceed it, if I'm not mistaken.
That's fine, but it shouldn't even be over $1 million or even 800,000.
Look.
It's Alabama.
Look, Alabama. If you hear me, get that collective up. They can have.
Alabama. We'll start a GoFundMe and have that done by tomorrow.
We have to.
Look, Marshall. Start it right now. I'm gonna drop the first $20 in there.
Hey, Justin, we donate all our super chats.
That's it. Well, while y'all figure all that out, that is gonna be it for us here at the Postgame Show. Again, check us out on all of our shows next week, starting tomorrow night, Sunday night, Talking Bama at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. And then on Monday night, we got the opening kick with Daniel Petty and Gerald Smoke Dixon, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. Then on Tuesday, the Bama Standard, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. Now, you didn't like what we had to say this past Tuesday, so you're going to get a few I told you so's, but don't expect us to hold anything back again. Right. But listen, we're done here, and we'll see you on our shows next week. Until then, roll tide.
Roll tide, roll.
Rolling.